Welcome to the Funny Carpenter. Today we're talking vinyl plank flooring. More specifically, the click-together floating vinyl plank flooring that the average DIY person can put into their own home. Now, I've had this Home Decorators vinyl plank from the Home Depot in my basement for about a year, so it's a perfect time to look back and reflect and answer any questions that you might have if you're considering the same type of flooring for your living space. How durable is the flooring? How much does it cost to do an entire basement like this? Do you need to take the baseboards off and replace them? How easy and how long does it take to install this type of flooring? Is there a lot of preparation to put this over a concrete slab in your basement? And then ultimately, if I had to do it all over again, would I use this type of flooring or would I go in another direction? Let's get into this, starting with how durable is this vinyl plank flooring? Well, after a year of use, I can say that it is extremely durable. It's actually pretty crazy how well it has stood up. I mean, we have kids down here, dogs running around, we're dragging furniture in and out. We have a giant couch that we have to pull out in order to plug in the built-in vacuum. So that happens about once a week. In the laundry room back here, we have a washing machine that sometimes sprays water out the top, and then underneath it'll get kind of water stains everywhere. I just wiped it right off with a wet rag and the floor is 100%. How much does it cost to install the vinyl plank? Well, I got the vinyl plank for about $2.79 a square foot at the Home Depot. It was on sale. It was regular price $3.29. The basement's about 750 square feet. I needed a bit of concrete to do some patching. All in all, it was about 2,600 bucks Canadian to do the 750 square foot basement. Now, if you wanted to get someone to install this in your house, you'd probably be looking at about $2 to $3 a square foot for installation. Do you need to replace the baseboards if you install vinyl plank flooring? Well, it depends. In the laundry room back there, I was just going right over top of the old linoleum. I didn't even take it out. So what I did is I just took the old baseboards off, and then because I was raising up slightly with the vinyl plank flooring, it's about a 1/4 inch thick, I cleaned up all the old baseboards and then I just reused them. But in these other areas in here, I was ripping out carpet. The baseboard was about 1/2 inch off of the concrete, so you can't really pull off the old baseboards and then clean them up and then reuse them, because you're going to have that nasty line along the top where it's going to be too much work to do drywall repair. So you could get a new baseboard that was slightly higher to cover that up. But what I ended up doing is I just left all the baseboards on. I ran the vinyl plank flooring underneath, and then I just made a little shoe molding that actually looked like a profile of the baseboard, and I brought that down to cover up the gap. If you're interested in that, I'll put yet another video into the playlist at the end here that kind of goes over how to make that little shoe molding and install it properly. And then if you're also taking your baseboards off, I'll put a video in the playlist about how to take casings off, and you can use the same kind of technique for the baseboard. Basically cutting the dap along the top of the baseboard, and then there's this special red bar tool that can slide in there and pry off all of the moldings without damaging them, so you can reuse them. One other quick thing to note here is the door casings. I did end up replacing the door casings in the carpeted areas because all of a sudden now they're like quite far off of the floor and they didn't look great. So I bought some new door casings, slapped those on, brought them all the way down, made it look professional. So how easy and how long does it take to install this type of flooring? In terms of the speed of installation, it goes incredibly quickly. So for like the small office, I did that in one day. Then there was a hallway, that took like half a day. And then the back laundry room, that was a day. This big room in here was kind of a 2-day process. But for a 750 square foot basement, you could easily do it in 3 days if you just banged it out all at once. But I kind of split it up and kind of painted and moved things as I went. So it probably took me all in all maybe like 5 days of just kind of shorter little spurts here and there. And then overall, the whole basement renovation process maybe took a little longer than I would have liked. I got busy and I lost a bit of steam here and there. So from start to finish, it was roughly about 6 months. Because I ripped out all the flooring, repainted all the walls. I did some built-in shelves, and then I ended up redoing the little strip all all the way around the baseboard. There was a giant spot in this drop over here that I had to repair, so there was a lot of work. I did the back laundry room, I built some cabinets in there. Yeah, so all in all, it was like a 6-month timeline. The actual flooring was the easiest part. It took about 5 days. So how easy is it to install? It's very easy to install. There's kind of 3 key things that you have to keep in mind. Because it's a click-together floating floor and you actually have to tap it together, you want to make sure that you really kind of secure it along the edges so it's not moving around as you're tapping it together. That can be a bit of a problem. It took me a little while to kind of get all the right shims in place to make everything go super smoothly. The second thing is you want to really take your time, which I did, and kind of plan out how all the widths are going to work out. Because I started in one side of the basement, came through an office, into a hallway, and then into this big room in here. So I took like maybe an hour and kind of laid out all the width and just kind of went with the best case scenario of where things would work out in doorways and then against walls. Because I have done it in the past where I didn't really take the time, and then there's kind of a couple little trouble areas that don't turn out that great. And the third thing that you want to watch when you're installing this floor is how this stuff actually taps together. Now I've made a quick video about how to install this stuff, which I'll put at the end in the playlist, but kind of the key thing that you want to think about, build yourself a proper little tapping box so that you're not going to damage the material as you're tapping it together. That made a huge difference. And check out the video. It's just nice to see how this stuff, like how hard do you have to hit it and what does it look like when it taps together. That would have saved me a lot of hassle when I first started putting this stuff together. So that's why I went and made that video. So check it out. I'll put it in the playlist at the end. So how much floor prep do you need to do to install this in your basement over a concrete slab? It depends on how bad your floor is. Now for my basement, there was a really terrible spot over in the doorway over there. So I did float coat that all out. Again, I made a video on it. I'll put it in the playlist. If I had to do this whole process over again, I probably would have spent a little more time with a long straight edge and probably hit a few more areas and perhaps even rented a concrete grinder from the Home Depot. Floor turned out great and I'm happy with it, but there's a few spots you can feel that are a little bit kind of the floor lifts up and pushes down when you step on it. It's definitely gotten better over time. It feels like the flooring kind of like molds to the concrete a little better, and the flooring has not separated or come apart in any areas. It just probably would have been nicer if I spent maybe an extra day and patched out a few more areas and maybe grinded a couple things out here or there. And finally, am I happy with the floor? And if I had to do it again, would I choose the same product? I definitely would. As a matter of fact, we're gonna put this vinyl plank up on the main floor of our house now. Right now we have hardwood up there and it's just gotten destroyed. The dogs and the kids have done a number on it. So we're gonna put this vinyl plank right over top of the hardwood into the kitchen and just do the whole main floor of the house in the vinyl plank as well. And then upstairs we have carpet. We're gonna just replace it with more carpet. I'm not a huge fan of the vinyl plank on stairs, and I did end up putting it on the stairs up into the main floor of my house. I'm gonna have a little review on that coming out shortly. Put it in the playlist up here, so check that out. And if you're into the whole subscribing thing, go ahead and give this guy a punch in the face down here. And if you have any questions, make sure you reach out. That's why I make the videos, to help people improve their living spaces. We'll see you on the next video.